Let's get into the nitty-gritty. My last rant won't take you far enough. But with the careful help of deep legacy models in ChatGPT, we can finally break this down. Who are these rootless populations? How did they outgrow themselves? Until now they hold the ballots in their hands? This rootless group has a price tag. They can be bought because of their traitor nature. Cut off from the Formosa ancestry, they live by shortcuts. No tie to the true ancestor spirit and vow to wrong Chinese lineage. So some comply with organized crime for small benefits. Freedom traded for convenience. Majority of them had fear of being left out. Fear of no nutrition, no security, fear of no peers. So they take whatever system keeps them fed. And the ballot, no longer sacred. Just a price tag swapped for subsidies, favors the illusion of safety. Disconnected from heritage, they drift without direction. And when survival has no roots, everything, including dignity, is for sale. They think the dark side of their rootlessness is hidden, but Gaia is watching, recording every single act. The weight grows heavier, bit by bit, until it crashes down. Slam! No mercy. No root, no nation, forever colonization. Tongning, the so-called Ming loyalist kingdom in Taiwan, made one of the biggest political miscalculations in our history. They cut off an entire group of Formosans from the Gaia system, the island's indigenous democratic network. No council seat, no land rights, no protection. That decision didn't just break unity, it birthed a whole new class of people I call the rootless plain folks. The hybrids Hoklo and Hakka, who would later pave the way with an open door for massive racial and cultural genocide under the KMT in the modern era. What if I told you the current Taiwan's political division was decided before the light bulb was even invented? Before Imperial Japan's genocide against our bravest warriors? Before the KMT confiscated Taiwan? Before the United States even existed? Before the country name of China was even born. That scar, the silence of 1670, still echoes today through the ballots. I've always wondered about this. It's the group of Taiwanese who still vote pro-China. Are they tied to that rootless Tongning legacy? The answer is, of course. Oh, over time, the Qing and the KMT forced their way onto our motherland. And later came the so-called Chinese commie brides. But you can spot those groups easily all within the last century. My hypothesis is this. The rootless Tongning, or hybrid Hoklos, from that 1670 incident onward, descended through 350 years, about 8 generations. Say no more, let me get right into the number. With the help of the research-grade intelligence of ChatGPT model, I've built a quantitative model estimating how rootless populations evolved across generations. About 350 years. I'll outline variables. Initial rootless share, P sub 0. Growth rates, R rootless versus rooted. And assimilation rates, alpha, beta. I'll then walk through the math step by step, using these assumptions, no browsing needed. I'll keep the example simple and show the calculation without any extra tools. Let's dive in. For this model, I'll use a simple Markov chain approach to describe the shift in population over generations, rooted versus rootless. We calculate the share for the next generation using a basic formula that looks like this. PT plus 1 equals PT1 minus P plus A minus PT, where A is assimilation into rootless and B is assimilation back. I'll walk through it with parameters for 8 generations. I want to reveal this to you so you can also counter-examine the model I built. Here's a math and science mini framework to quantify how a rootless group could grow into ballot power across Rao's 8 generations, 350 years. Let PTPTPT be the share of rootless at generation TTE. Each generation, AAA, percentage of rooted who shift to rootless, assimilation into rootlessness. BBB, percentage of rootless who return to rooted, rerouting. Recurrence, Markov share model. PT plus 1 equals PT, 1 minus B, plus A times 1 minus PT, equals A plus 1 minus A minus B, P to P. T was 1 equals PT times 1 minus B, plus A, 1 minus PT, equals A plus 1 minus A minus B. PT plus 1 equals PT times 1 minus B, plus A times 1 minus PT equals plus 1 minus A minus B, PT. That means P sub T plus 1 equals P sub T multiplied by 1 minus B plus a multiplied by 1 minus P sub T. This equals a plus the quantity 1 minus a minus B multiplied by P sub T. Fixed point. P star is equal to a divided by the sum of A and B. Closed form after n and n generations. P at time t plus 1 equals P at time t times 1 minus B plus A times 1 minus P at time t, which equals a plus 1 minus a minus B times P at time t. P star equals a divided by a plus B. P at time n equals P star plus P0 minus P star, multiplied by 1 minus a minus B raised to the power of n. Now, let's go with the example for 8 generations. Assume P0 equals 0.10, meaning 10% rootless in 1670. A equals 0.08. B equals 0.02. N equals 8. P star equals 0.80. 1 minus a minus B raised to the power of 8 equals 0.98 to the 8th power, which is approximately 0.4305. P8 is approximately equal to 0.80. Plus the quantity 0.10 minus 0.80, multiplied by 0.4305, which gives approximately 0.499. That is roughly 50%. So now, let's move along and mapping the formula into the ballots, no time waste. QQQ, probability a rootless voter supports pro-China, or say any of your target choice. RRR, probability a rooted voter supports it. Expected vote share. VI is PN times Q plus the remaining part 1 minus PN times R. Example. With PN approximately 0.5, Q equal to 0.7, and R equal to 0.2, V is approximately 0.5 times 0.7 plus 0.5 times 0.2, which equals 0.45 or 45%. This is how to use it. Pick P sub 0. Your starting rootless base in 1670. Set assimilation AAA, rerouting BB per era. You can vary by century. Compute P sub n for 8 generations. Choose QRQRQRR to reflect campaign era preferences. Get VVV. To demonstrate my result, I'll show you how 50,000 rootless men in 1670 grew into nearly half of Taiwan's population by 2025, and how that carried into last July's anti-recall vote. Not opinion, not conspiracy, just math and history laid out step by step. Of course, not all 50,000 Tongning men were cut off from their roots. In this pie chart, you can see the tribal breakdown within Tongning. With ChatGPT's Pro model, I mapped which tribes became rootless using geography and history to trace how the rootless population first took shape in 1670-wise. Left by 50,000 adults. Tigdaya Atayal, then Truku Patruku, then Paze Babuzas, the Midag, and Siraya Taivoan, the Makatao, and then Hybrid Hoklo, the Austro Hoklo, plus the Hoklo Ming loyal arrivals, and last but not least other Austronesian, Paiwan, the Rukai, and Amis. There is no Hakka from the pre-Qing period. On the right pie, 25,000 adults are the rootless joint, only the portions amputated from Gaia after the split, the full Midag and hybrid Haklo. The partials are Truku, Patruku, Saraya, Paiwan, Rukai, Amiz, Haklo arrival set to 0. I also opened a reference table in your viewer. Here it is. Preaching, composition, and rootless subset, no Haka. Teaching model. It lists the group shares, adults, amputation factors, and the scaled counts that sum to 25,000 in numbers. We start with 25,000 rootless people in 1670. If that's 12,500 couples, and we run 8 generations with this fertility schedule, 7 kids early, then 5, 4, and 1 in the modern era, we land around 13 million adults today. Quite realistic, I must say. If instead we treat the 25,000 as couples, the teaching model we use in earlier charts, the modern base is about 27 million, but that is not realistic. Either way, the point stands. This lineage didn't vanish. It multiplied across centuries and still shapes how parts of Taiwan vote and identify today. Let's see the breakdown of each tribe that got amputated from the root of Truan. Breakdown from the highest to the lowest. Hybrid Haklo, 39 to 100, 39.1%. Truku, Paze, Patruku, 21,700, 21.7%. Other Austronesians, 2,700, 27%. Sarai Allies, 17 to 400, 17.4%. Actual Haklo, 1,100, 1.1%. See a clear chart here. Growth curve, line chart. Starts with 25,000 Tongning couples out from the total of 50,000. You can see from the pie chart. The percent of Aboriginals got amputated from the root together with the scattered clans. The percentage is likely to show this result. Multiplies each generation by the children per couple rate, half become couples. Shows exponential expansion in early gens, then flattening by Gen 8. What the visuals show. Fertility schedule, bar chart. Generations 1 to 3, higher fertility, 7 kids per couple. I would say 1670, 1750 early generations, fertility rate was very high. When everything was so natural, no plastics, no pollution. Generations 4 to 5, middle fertility, 5 kids per couple. I would estimate the period 1750 to 1850, middle generations fertility rate was also high. When everything was so natural, no plastics, no pollution. Generations 6 to 7, reduced fertility, show 4 kids per couple. From 1850, mid-1900, I imagine this period with war and suppression, the birth rate is not as flourishing as the much earlier period. Modern period, average 1 child per household, that I would imagine to be our generation. With daily use of microwaves, toxic consumer and building materials, colors and preservatives in our food and drinks, information overload, that sure bring our fertility rate far down to 1. You'll be laughing if you ever get 1. Of course, the uncertainty of the actual rooted nation of our own is one of the biggest killer of our infertility. So this wraps the 8th generation of this rootless population that we have in Taiwan. So the math shows balances the average to 5 kids across the whole 350 years. Quick gut check, if the root got cut in 1670, would we still hear it in today's ballots? Let's test it with numbers you can actually see. The rootless score is highest, votes against recall score. That's not coincidence, that's the motherland's wound still bleeding through every election we hold in Taiwan. Let's first see how many of the rootless population grew after 8 generations without closure. And what is the estimated rootless population today in 2025? Start, year 1670. 25,000 rootless people. That is 2,500 couples. Fertility by generation. 7, 7, 7, 5, 5, 4, 4, 1 children per couple, Gen 1 to Gen 8. We went through this before with the clear backing sources and the two charts you saw. Pairing rule, next generation's couples equals children divided by 2. This is the only model step. Rounding odd numbers changes results by plus minus 1 person, which is negligible. Recurrence formula, so anyone can replicate. And this formula was given by ChatGPT, the research grade intelligence. I personally don't understand this, but this is the formula used to drive the model and created the scenario of the rootless population descend all the way to 2025. C sub g equals C sub g minus 1 multiplied by K sub g divided by 2. Here, C sub g represents the number of couples in generation G, and K sub g is the number of children per couple used to produce generation G. The number of adults in generation G, A sub g, equals 2 times C sub g. For me, since I didn't have enough physics background to understand the formula to avoid using something that unknown to everyone, I asked ChatGPT to give me the breakdown of each generation with the numbers of ratios on kids per couple and with the accumulation over generations to the next till full 8 generations are being piled up and accumulated. Let's take a look. Start with 25,000 people in 1670. Treat that as 12,500 couples. Multiply generation by generation using this fertility schedule. 7, 7, 7, 5, 5, 4, 4, 1. Each time, kids become the next generation's adults, and half of them pair up as couples. Do the math, and by Gen 8, today, you get more 13.4 million adults. That's why this cutoff branch didn't vanish. It multiplied and it still votes. Start 12,500 couples in 1670, 25,000 rootless people from the Taluan self-amputation. This table shows how population accumulates and declines across generations. Generation 1 begins with 87,500 children. By the year 2025, none are still alive. All have passed away. Generation 2 grows to 306,250 children. Again, none remain alive in 2025. Generation 3 exceeds 1 million births, but the entire generation is deceased. Generation 4 rises to over 2.6 million children, with no survivors today. Generation 5 reaches nearly 6.7 million births, yet all have passed away. Generation 6 marks the first living population. Out of 13.4 million born, about 1.3 million are still alive, while over 12 million have died. Generation 7 doubles in size to nearly 27 million births. Roughly half are alive in 2025 and half are deceased. Generation 8 represents the current youngest generation. All 13.4 million born are still alive, with no recorded deaths. Together, these generations show how exponential growth builds quickly, while mortality gradually shifts the balance across time. So, if you look at this chart, you can see nearly 13.4 million descendants under these assumptions of rootlessness descends. All inputs are explicit. Start size, fertility per generation, pairing rule. All operations are shown. You can redo it in a spreadsheet with the 2 formulas above. Rounding only shifts by plus 1 person when odd numbers appear. It doesn't change the order of magnitude picture. So this is a trustworthy chart to go by, giving us a good answer of how big of the rootless population we have today. Question is, what do we do? Where are you heading? What is your political attributes today? Who will they vote for and why? Political camp vote shares in Taiwan, 2024-2025. Let's counter-examine the most recent ballot reality, so we can map the numbers to the rootless Formosan lineage, so we leave nothing in the air. No bluffing, no deceiving bullshit. DDP Lechinte won with 40.5% of the vote. Kuomintang, KMT, Pan Blue, Pro-China received 32.5%. Taiwan People's Party, TPP, Red Commie Blue, KMT disguised, mixed captured, approximately 26.5%. Legislative election 2024. KMT, Pan Blue, party list vote share 34.6%. DPP, Pan Green, party list vote share 36.2%. TPP, Third Independent, party list vote share 22.1%. This summary shows how Taiwan's political support is divided into three main camps. The pro-independence camp, represented by the DDP party, holds roughly 36 to 40% of the vote. The pro-China or Pan-Blue camp, led by the Kuomintang, accounts for about 33 to 34%. The remaining share belongs to centrist and third force parties, including the Taiwan People's Party, with approximately 22 to 26% of voter support. Together, these figures show a closely balanced political landscape with no single camp holding an absolute majority. The TPP effectively represents the bipartisan or non-aligned segment voters who are neither clearly blue nor green, despite they are red to pinkish claim to be white. So I'll say pink for sure. Imagine a chart. Blue segment, 35%, representing those aligned with the KMT pro-China. Green segment, be 36 to 40%, DPP supporters pro-Taiwan, are the yellow-gray segment, they're on 22 to 26%. TPP, the rootless or centrist crowd that didn't strongly lean either way. Now compare that to your 13.4 million rootless descendants figure. Could they map to the TPP so-called centrist voter base? Let's see the answer to that. Linking the concepts. Folks, please focus. This is going to blow you away. Your 13.4 million rootless group, descendants cut off from Truan roots, roughly aligns with the TPP share 22 to 26% of the electorate. It suggests a fascinating parallel. Those who are socially rootless, disconnected from traditional identity, may lean into moderate third-party politics, or became centered or bipartisan, escaping the blue-green clear divide. Meanwhile, the pan-green and pan-blue camps may more closely reflect deeper-rooted identities, whether from Formosa Truan that are rooted versus the historically Han and later Chinese KMT immigrant origins. Here's the truth. Taiwan's center ground today isn't an accident. It's the unfinished wound from 1670, the gunpowder betrayal, the massacre that cut Truan's roots clean off.
Open your eyes wide and focus on the blue bar. 6.66 million.
13.4 million descendants. But cast through generations, wars, migrations, only half remain in Taiwan today with the right to vote. That's 6.66 million rootless neutral souls. 6666 number of the beast. Listen, I didn't make this up. This number of the beast is followed by Gaia, and I am just a messenger. Take a closer look at the orange bar, 6 million, and look almost 1 to 1. That's the size of Taiwan's real center vote. The third force, the people that swing between green and blue. Not by ideology, but by history. Because they carry no tribe, no closure, no root. Brothers and sisters, this wound goes back to the gunpowder betrayal, when Truan's roots were amputated and no closure was ever given. Here I repeat, out of that betrayal grew 13.4 million descendants rootless cut off from their origin. But not all could vote, half were lost through death and age, and even among those who remained, many drifted swayed by history into light green or light blue camps. Yet when we strip all that away, what stands firm is the neutral rootless core 66 million strong. Again, listen to this number 6.66, and when we compare that to today's reality, the numbers align almost perfectly. 666 million rootless equals the numbers of the centrists, and part of it sure belongs to the third force of Taiwan today, and some are the real original rootlessness. Swing to light green, 25%, 3.35 millions. Neutral core center, 6.66 million, highlighted as approximately 6.66 mil to echo the number of the beast. Swing to light blue, 25%, the 3.35 million. This layout shows the rootless descendants splitting evenly. A quarter leaning light green, a quarter leaning light blue. The center core, 6.7 million mapping, almost 1.1 with Taiwan's centrists, the third force voters today. This is not coincidence. This is the living scar of history. The centrists are the rootless, the children of the cut-off Truan tree. Their very existence is proof that the betrayal still shapes Taiwan's destiny. Now, the spin doctors say they're independent thinkers. I say they're orphans of a stolen past. Their neutrality is not chosen, it was forced. Carved out when loyalty to a foreign throne turned Formosan warriors against their own. That's the real origin of Taiwan's center. Alright, if you really spend time and focus on this video, then you know the lineage of our ballots in Taiwan. And not only we clear the fog about why we are still divided, we also understand the root of the issue, the rootlessness versus the gunpowder betrayer incident. So don't be fooled. The centrists you see today aren't free floaters. They're the children of the gunpowder betrayal. And until Taiwan faces that scar, the wound will keep bleeding neutrality. Now, do we have the answer now? Yes, we do, but are we brave enough to face it? No! I am out of here for now. My GPU juice is running low after this intense building models and running the numbers for everyone. If you find my analogies interesting, drop me a note, buy me a coffee, subscribe to my channel. Alright, I am out of here. Wish you all a happy 2026.